Once upon a time in India, there lived a young woman. She was so beautiful that all the young men in the village dreamed of marrying her. But she didn't dream of getting married. All she wanted to do was study. She would sit for hours reading ancient texts, which was not considered appropriate for a young woman at that time. So her father locked her up in a tower, hoping that she would someday give up her studies and accept a proposal for marriage. But the young woman didn't care. She continued to study for years, until one day she heard a rumor that the most powerful and wisest man in the world, Gautam Buddha, was visiting the nearby city, and she had a sudden idea. She wrote a letter asking for Buddha's permission to study under him. Then she sent the letter with a servant who was going to the city to buy groceries. After receiving the letter, Buddha decided to visit the village and meet the young woman. When he arrived at her house, her father was very happy because finally someone powerful had come to take his daughter off his hands. So he took Buddha inside the tower where the young woman was studying and said, "Here is my daughter. You can marry her if you want." But Buddha said, "I don't need a wife." The father was shocked. He couldn't believe that anyone could reject his daughter. So he asked Buddha, "What kind of a man are you? Here is the most beautiful woman in the world, and you don't want to marry her." Buddha replied, "It's not that I don't want to marry her, it's just that I already have a wife." Then the father asked, "Who doesn't want your wife?" Buddha said, "All the women of the world are my wives." The father was deeply disappointed. He couldn't understand what Buddha meant. Then Buddha asked him to look inside the tower and see how many women were there. The father looked around and saw hundreds of women sitting in a circle, also studying ancient texts. Then he realized that Buddha was not just a spiritual leader, but also a great philosopher who believed in equality between men and women, and he felt ashamed for trying to force his daughter to marry someone against her will. Then he came out of the tower and fell down at Buddha's feet and said, "Please forgive me. I have been a fool." Buddha then asked him, "Do you want your daughter to become a great scholar like these women?" The father nodded his head. So Buddha sighed, "Then let her continue to study, and if she wants to marry, she should be free to choose her own husband." The father was very grateful to Buddha for his wisdom. He realized that his daughter's happiness was more important than her beauty, and from that day on, he never tried to force her to marry. So friends, the real power of a woman comes from her education and not from her beauty. And a true feminist is not someone who hates men, but someone who believes in equality between all genders. Now, you must be thinking why I told this story on this platform. Well, today we are going to discuss an event that happened during Buddha's last days on earth. It is called Mahaparinirvana, which literally means the great death. According to Buddhist scriptures, when Buddha learned that his physical body was nearing its end, he shaved his head and decided to visit Kushinagar one last time. On the way, he stopped at a small village and asked for food. An old woman offered him some rice gruel, and in return, Buddha predicted that she would live for 18 years. Then he continued his journey and reached Kushinagar in the evening. There he saw a large gathering of monks and lay people who had come to pay their respects to him. He spent the night in meditation, and in the morning he gave his final sermon, teaching the monks about the impermanence of life and the importance of being prepared for death at any moment. After that, he lay down on his right side, facing upward, and soon entered into a deep state of meditation. Thousands of people stood by him as he lay there motionless. After 3 hours, his body began to glow with a brilliant light, and his body started levitating a few inches above the ground. Some people thought that Buddha had become one with the heavens, but after a while, his body slowly came down and he breathed his last breath. His body was then taken to a nearby stupa, where it was cremated. The next day, the monks gathered the ashes and placed them in an ornate vessel and buried them in a nearby hill. And that is how the great Buddha died. But his teachings continue to live on in the hearts of millions of people around the world. So friends, what did you learn from today's story? Please share your answers in the comment section below. And if you like this story, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching.